Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the October 22nd, 2017 special edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B, WWE. And this is a special edition this evening because tonight's pay-per-view event is TLC. And before I begin with my predictions for this pay-per-view this evening, I should just quickly make note of my results from the last pay-per-view show. It was the first one which I didn't get over 50% on, unfortunately. There were certainly some controversial decisions there. And all of those results I will discuss later on this week in my first non-pay-per-view predictions podcast that I'm going to be doing for a while. So it's the first one in a while, so I'm going to cover a lot of the storyline and the narrative and everything going on with the WWE and not just pay-per-view results. So I will quickly note that my winning percentage going into the past pay-per-view 2 weeks ago, I was correct on 31 of possible 56 of the matches over the pay-per-view so far this year. And now, since I correctly guessed 3 out of 7, that brings me to 34 out of 63. So still sitting over 50%, but it's obviously kind of tough to climb those percentage numbers. So hopefully I get back on track with this one here, this TLC pay-per-view tonight. And speaking of which, this TLC pay-per-view has really taken a bit of a curveball this past week, as a number of the key superstars on the roster for Monday Night Raw, which is the exclusive show for this pay-per-view, a number of the key superstars are out with illness. So setting up a lot of matches on the fly that don't have really hardly any build-up. So and that, coupled with the fact that there's very few championships on the line here, was going to make this probably the worst pay-per-view so far this year. Hopefully they can do something and turn this around, but the way the card looks so far, it's not looking too promising. So I'm going to now go through the matches on the card here. We have a total of 6 matches on the main card. The opening match is a Cruiserweight Tag Team match featuring members of the 205 Live roster. And on the first squad, there's Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann. And they're competing against Gentleman Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick. This is certainly a match that is normally reserved for Monday Night Raw or even 205 Live. Definitely not pay-per-view quality. There's really not a whole lot of build-up here. I'm just going to go with Gentleman Jack Gallagher and the Brian Kendrick getting the victory here. I think they're two more exciting performers and more interesting characterizations with these two, so I'm going to choose those two to win that opening bout. The next one is for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, and this is keeping it on the 205 Live here. Other cruiserweights now. We have new champion Kalisto, who just recently won the title from Enzo Amore. And I'm going to have to say that I think Enzo Amore is going to win it back. He's really they've really been building Enzo as a dirty player now, and he's certainly sparking a lot of interest in the 205 Live now that he entered the Cruiserweight division. And I think he can certainly do some interesting feuds back with Neville and some other potential guys, more with Kalisto too, but I think Enzo will use some of his dirty tricks and win the belt back. So I am predicting Enzo Amore will win back the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. The next match is for the Raw Women's Championship match. This is the second of 2 championships on the evening. And this is between champion Alexa Bliss taking on Mickie James. This is Mickie James' first championship title match and women's championship match in quite a while, quite a few years. So they're playing quite the underdog storyline here. I do feel that Alexa Bliss is just at the top of her game, and she's easily one of the top female competitors between both shows. And there's just a number of babyface female wrestlers on the roster right now. So Alexa Bliss, it works very nicely as a top heel. So I'm thinking Alexa Bliss will retain, which could still result in a rematch between her and Mickie. But, with the talent with also Sasha Banks and some other individuals, including someone whom I'm about to discuss shortly, there's just a number of baby faces that can do some great programs with Alexa. So Alexa Bliss will retain the Raw Women's Championship tonight, I believe. So this segues into the next match, which is the debut match for the highly anticipated and much hyped Asuka, taking on Emma. I must say they've done a great job with the promos building up Asuka's debut this evening. And she's really, this performance hopefully will salvage this damaged program with some fill-in matchups and fill-in performers. So, and this is the biggest no-brainer match on the card. So Asuka will win in very convincing fashion, I'm sure, over Emma. So Asuka will be victorious in her first match and first pay-per-view match as well. The next one is one of the matches which was all changed on the card. It was originally supposed to be the Demon Finn Balor taking on Bray Wyatt, even with the evil Sister Abigail persona as well. So that had a pretty creepy, interesting narrative. Since Bray fell ill, they decided to throw one of their other best performers, who's not even on Monday Night Raw, but on SmackDown Live, AJ Styles, into this competition against the Demon Finn Balor. This is certainly not an easy one to pick, because this has the feeling of just a very good quality house show match, meaning it's going to be great work, but there's going to be no continuation of storyline here. What will continue is certainly the Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt storyline. So what I believe is going to happen is, though Bray Wyatt I don't think will make an appearance in person, he's certainly I think he's gonna pull some of his trickery and create some sort of a distraction for Finn Balor, allowing AJ Styles to get the victory. I think this match could be very good if it had a proper build-up and they really developed the program nicely. But since they just came up with this literally some days ago, it's not going to be anything special, and I think it's going to be kind of a very questionable finish like that. So I'm saying AJ Styles will be victorious over the Demon Finn Balor in this one, thanks to some distraction by Bray Wyatt. So AJ Styles will be victorious. And now on to the main event, which also caused a lot of headlines. And I can tell you right now, I can almost say with certainty that this is not a return that the WWE wanted to make just yet. And of course, what I'm referring to is the return of WWE Hall of Famer and Raw General Manager Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle is substituting for another ill top wrestler, Roman Reigns. This match is a 5-on-3 handicap tables, ladders, and chairs match, and this is supposed to be, the Shield's reunion, so to speak, with Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins taking on the Miz and his Miztourage. No, I'm sorry, it's the Miz, not with his Miztourage, but with Cesaro and Sheamus, and they're also getting Braun Strowman and Kane to team up with them. So that's a lot of firepower, and I just have to say that they really tried to stack the odds against the Shield on this one. But I still felt that if the match were to go on as planned, that the Shield would be victorious. And regardless of the substitute, there's too many good things that can go with Kurt Angle being victorious in his return match, because I have a feeling that they were saving Kurt Angle certainly for possibly WrestleMania or some major event like this, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, something like this. Though I can bet after all the surgeries Kurt Angle has undergone and all the wrestling he's done over the years, he's not somebody that's going to return to any type of full-time performance. So this is something I think they were saving for WrestleMania, but due to desperate measures, they're going to include him in the match with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And I just think this match is going to certainly go on quite long, considering there's only 6 matches on the card, and the card is quite weak. So this is going to be a long one, and I don't think Kurt Angle is going to get too many bumps. It's tough to tell how good a shape he's in right now since he hasn't performed in so long. So I don't think he's going to do any major spots in the match, any major moves or anything too crazy. We'll really get a sense when we watch a show tonight how good a shape he's in. Hopefully he's in good shape. He's one of my all-time favorites, and I was one of the lucky few who was in person for his WWF debut, which was at Survivor Series in 1999. So I totally am excited to see Kurt Angle back in the squared circle. It's too bad. It's very unfortunate it's under these circumstances. But I think with such a crappy card, the WWE is going to want to end on a high note and give the fans some excitement with Kurt Angle being victorious in his return with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. And I'm sure they're probably going to earn the pinfall over someone like Kane, who's also not a full-time performer anymore either. So it's going to be over someone they won't look too weak from that. So Kurt Angle and Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, I believe, will be victorious in the 5-on-3 handicap TLC match. Okay, folks, there you have it. Hopefully I can get back on the winning side of things with these predictions. And like I said, later on this week, I will be doing, for the first time in a while, a full analysis show, not just giving my predictions. Don't forget to subscribe and like below if you liked what you heard tonight. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time.